good morning or good Saturday night if you're Sir Z all the way back there in the West Coast. But it is match day and it is an early one against our fiercest rivals, Manchester United. I'm joined by Brian and Sir Z. Brian, how are you this morning?
Hey, good morning. I'm ready for the match.
Sir Z, how are you?
Good. Good morning, gents.
A little bit nervous, apparently.
Yes.
I think we all are. I think if Klopp was still in charge, a different mental setup, but we don't know anything about Slot and how he will approach it. So I think nerves are probably a natural thing for everybody. But let's go straight into the lineups. Here's the Liverpool lineup, posted as always in that ridiculously terrible numerical order. But Alisson in goal, Van Dijk and Kanate centre halves. Alexander-Arnold and Robertson is the fullbacks. I'm going to assume Gravenberch is the 6, and then McAllister and Szoboszlai is the 2 box-to-box midfielders, and then Salah, Jota, and Diaz up front. And then let's have a look at the Man United one. I'm not even going to attempt to figure out their positioning, but I do have a graphic for it. So, I mean, that's the, pardon me for being not overconfident, but maybe a little bit arrogant. That's the least recognizable Manchester United team I've seen in decades. Susie, what do you think of the lineups?
I remember last season when I thought that we were going to destroy them. On paper, it looks to our favor. God, it's Man United, isn't it? So, but yeah, I think we've gone with our strongest 11. Why change a winning formula? So, yeah, it's. On paper, it looks good, but yeah, it doesn't always pan out that way.
Brian, our lineup probably to be expected. I'm pretty sure Chiesa wasn't registered in time to be even on the bench, even as just a little here's a sample of the atmosphere kind of a deal. But we look as strong as we could possibly be, and even with the bench, we just go back to it there. I mean, there's nothing on that bench that worries me. We should have the makings of this game if Slot has a plan. And tell me if I'm wrong here. Slot looks like he has more plans than Klopp did.
Oh, absolutely. I think you have less of the same exact method of running and running and running. And if you look at how Slot does it, Slot goes to a 4-2-4, goes to a 3-2-3-1. I mean, he is constantly maneuvering with it on the pitch. So I do think that it's a whole different thing to just constantly stay at 3-4-3 or 4-3-3. I mean, all the time. So yeah, I think that I'm excited by this. I think this is the first matchup right there to see how his tactics are going to actually come and play with a big rival. I mean, because the other two matches right there are basically really kind of mid-table clubs. So this is like the first thing that has actual motion to it.
Richard Hutchinson asks, FSG out or in? I think the answer to that is whether we win or lose, at least immediately, Susie. But so early in the season, game week 3, is this already a must-win game for Liverpool?
Yeah, definitely. I think right now, every game is a must-win game. If you think prior to last season, or even like the seasons that we've gone close to Man City, we've only lost by 1 point. It's I think Kazi said it during the week. Like if Arsenal pushed Man City more, Man City still probably would have gone into like 5th gear and still won that league. So I think, back in the day when we saw was, it's still early, you can lose games, you can drop points. I don't think it's that way anymore. I think every point counts and every win counts. Now, Arsenal have come out of nowhere for, in the last 2-3 seasons. Now they're pushing City, they're up there with us, we're like Liverpool, Man City's biggest competition during the club era. So every game is a must-win game. And I think just mentally, knowing that Man United pretty much destroyed our season last season, I think that we owe them one, and I think that's a mental hurdle that a lot of these players need to overcome.
Ken Grover's watching from Maine in USA, and I hope the signal holds. It's August, so the snow must be starting up there. Ken, it's certainly feeling cold enough for here down in Connecticut. But Brian, I mean, that game must prey on the minds of the players, the FA Cup game from last season. So there's a bit juiciness to it. We outplayed Man United that day and outplayed ourselves in the process, if I remember correctly. We really should have done a lot better. But this team, it seems, defensively has a lot more resilience already under Slot. Defensively, in terms of the structure, we're not leaving ourselves as open. And it almost seems like Slot is more concerned with getting more players back than getting more players forward to press. Although the press is still there, it seems to be conditional. If the ball is in this situation, we'll go. If not, get back and don't let them in. Do you think that will help us against Man United, especially Man United, who are really, really unstructured?
Absolutely. I think the one thing that's really going to help us right there is that we play a possession-based football now versus a complete counter-attacking football. And I think that we have the ability to go there to to kill them with passes. It's the total Dutch way, the total control football, and I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we're just gonna pass them and ping them until they get frustrated and hit them on these breaks. So yeah, I think I'm excited. Again, I can't say as much. I'm excited by this match. I think it's a tactical. It's a good chess match to watch.
Ken Roberts says the only thing he's nervous about is our centre back depth today. That could be an issue, but you know what I'm nervous about? I'm nervous about bringing on Cozzy because Cozzy's going to cause controversy one way or the other, I'm sure.
Oh, come on,
but he's probably a more relaxed man these days as impending good news comes towards him. But let's start good news comeuppance today. Cozzy, what do you think of the lineups? They look like we're stronger on paper, as we said. But that means something in this game, does it?
No, I mean it's a game where Liverpool, especially at Old Trafford, have not got the best record. We have had a couple of wins there under Klopp, but still the record isn't great. I said the questions is more over United than Liverpool. I expect Liverpool to be unchanged. I think I said this from the start of the season. I think he's sitting these 3 games as a one-off, just to have a look at his best 11, what he thinks, and I think that's what he's doing. And he'll worry about the fitness of Elliott and Jones later on down the line because you've got 3 home games next week, a lot of the international at least. So, yeah, it's fine. I think the more that I'm interested in here is the United side. Doing Zerke is interesting, I think, because I thought Bruno's actually been okay in this advanced forward role. Zerke, I don't know how long can he do for you? Can he do an hour? Can he do 70? Because it's fucking intense, this game of football. The Lit is an unknown. Again, he's played well since he's come off the bench. We get that, but I actually think it's unlucky on Maguire because I actually think he's played okay. I actually thought he actually got harshly blamed for the Brighton goal in the first one because if you actually look at the goal again, Martinez is actually looking at Welbeck, but decides to mark the left back, which is an interesting stand to take. So, and then he's took the chance on Rashford. I think Ahmad's bang unlucky to not play because he scored last week and he looked lively on that side, but he took the chance on Rashford because of his record in this game, which is massive because I think he's like 5 or 6 goals probably in this game. He's ran us ragged at times. So I'm excited for the game, mate. I really am. I think it's I think we're playing at the right time. I really do. I think there's one of those, Maka, where you could look back, fella, if United finish 5th or 4th and they lose 2 at home, that Liverpool could be the one because you played them early doors. Again, I keep going back to that Chelsea result for City. In fucking 6 months, we might go, fucking hell, he went to the bridge and won. Yeah, because you played them on the first game when they were a complete unknown. So I think the timing's right for Liverpool. I think Liverpool are better set of what we want and how we want to play. So I'm excited, man. I can't wait.
Brian, I mean, that is a good point playing them now in terms of, stages of preparation for the whole season. But another flip side to it is the pressure's kind of off a little bit for Liverpool, isn't it? Because it is only the 3rd game of the season. So if we don't get the win, there's 35 other games to make up for it. So it's not a crucial result in the same way that we may have more trepidation in like March playing them going for a top 4 or maybe even an outside title challenge. This is probably the best time for our nerves that we could play Manchester United.
I mean, it's the best time, but I still think the pressure's there. I mean, City keeps on winning. I mean, Holly keeps on throwing in goals. I mean, that's like what 2 hat tricks now, and in the span of a couple of matches. I mean, so you have to. I mean, I think Arsenal getting that draw yesterday really kind of put them on the back foot right there for the going against City. So you basically have to keep going with City and just hoping for the best. I mean, I don't think there's really that much difference to seeing them in March or seeing them now. I mean, at least now right there, they're not organized, but not that these Ten Hag sides have been organized for the entire season anyway. But I think that we have that right now. Any time's good enough to take on them, because I just think that they are disjointed at the moment, and they'll probably be disjointed in March if we play them again. I think we play them again in February again, so they'll be disjointed again then too. So I'm good.
So Ken Grover said earlier that he was nervous about the centre back depth. Is with Konate being Konate, is it something we should worry about today? Are we going to see Konate collapse 37 minutes in, holding his knee or something, and then the plan is out the window?
No, I think the fact that we kept Gomez helps.
Yeah.
Definitely until January. Obviously, we've got Kwanzaa on the bench. I think at the beginning of the season we were putting Kwanzaa and Verge as our top choice centre backs. So the fact that Konate is now not doing two jobs, by the looks of it, so he's not trying to protect Trent. He's actually focusing on his own job, and he's a Konate that we wanted. Obviously, in terms of being healthy and injury free, that's to be seen. But right now, Konate's in his place. So we can only just focus on the positives and just hope, he doesn't get injured. But if he does, we still have top quality centre backs to take his place.
The thing
The
is,
fact that we kept Gomez really, the fact that we kept Gomez really helped.
yeah, I mean, and again, going back to our centre-half depth, we have two boss centre-halves on the bench. They've got Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. Don't worry about us. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. If the little Martinez breaks down, their fans will be fucking more nervous than ours. You know what I mean? So,
but as well. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Martinez, the last 12 months he's had his issues, hasn't he? Before that, he's pretty good, but the last 12 months, mate, he's been in and out. The Lit's hardly kicked a football in 12 months. Do you know what I mean? And this is, by the way, an intense game of football to come into. So if I'm United, I'll be a bit more fucking hell. Like, this is, this could make or break it kind of thing. So
I think you have to also bear in mind Johnny Evans has retired from international football, so it's just like getting a whole new player.
Yeah, I said on the Discords right there, what do you guys think about just going in and just asking Matip just to come in right there on a free right there just to help with Kwanzaa and just be as a fifth choice? I mean, it would fill that background role, and also I think that Kwanzaa could use that little bit of guidance, because I mean he's a lot like a Matip type player.
I was all in on the Hermoso on a free, from Atletico Madrid. Take 31 games for Atletico last year. I know this is not really the podcast to go into it on, but I was all in on that. Just get him in on a free. I'm all in on Rabiot on a free. I'm all in just to get him in at 29 and just go, you're coming in to do a job for 12, 18 months. And we don't know who we're signing as a number 6, because for the last 3 years, we haven't been able to sign one. Caicedo, Tchouaméni, and now Zubimendi. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, just bring him in for 6 months. But, yeah.
On that note, Ken asks, are we sold on Gravenberch in the number 6 role? I'm a huge fan of Endo, at least under the Klopp system, because he just did his job simply. Win the ball, give it to somebody else. Occasionally pop up with a goal. But he's been asked to do a hell of a lot more in this system. It's, I hate to hark back to it, but it is a lot more similar to Brendan Rodgers than it is to Jurgen Klopp, in that the midfield should be like jacks of all trades. Do you think Gravenberch is the player that can hold that together?
I'm not sold on it yet, because the sample size is too small. You're playing two teams that are probably going to be finishing the bottom 12. Listen, he's looked really good against those two teams in the bottom 12. But I also expect any single football player who plays for Liverpool to look good against the teams in the bottom 12. So, he's played really well. He looks good in the role. I'm not denying it. And I'm excited, you know what I mean, kind of deal. I just feel like it's so difficult, this, mate, because he has got someone alongside him. So it's not, you've got to get the Klopp system out your head, and this system's completely different. Yeah. Where Klopp used to just leave Fabinho because Fabinho was that good and go, just get these lads up the field and we'll just haymaker you. And he used to leave Van Dijk and Matip or Gomez on the halfway line, let them defend one-on-one. It's not really like that anymore. So can he do it? Yes. Listen, fella, this is his opportunity for him to go, I'm going to establish myself at a top. Let's get it right. This is his last big chance at a fucking big club. Do you know what I mean? You do really well at Ajax when you're a kid. You go to Bayern Munich, don't kick a footy. Where are you going to go to after this? Well, Chelsea might sign you, of course, but that's just for the jokes. And then you're looking at, like, the other big clubs won't sign you. So this is your last big opportunity to start and really make a career at a big, big football club. So he's played really well. First 2 games. Needs some time. But again, it's not that I'm not sold, fella. I need to see more of a sample size. If you come back to me in November Do you know what I mean? But after 2 games, I think it's hard to say, oh, fucking hell, yeah, we're set. You know what I mean? So,
in terms of, because just before we go to Brian, in terms of, you know, you are right. Your sample size needs to be a little bit bigger, but if he turns it on this stage at Old Trafford and runs the midfield, that's also a good indicator that he's getting the idea, isn't it?
yeah, of course, yeah, because again, it's the hardest game that Liverpool face all season, this in Goodison Park. It's a coin toss, you know what I mean? So, yes, and of course, we'll get all giddy and excited as well if Liverpool go on and win the game, and we'll all think we're going to fucking win all 4, and I get it. And by the way, I'm the giddiest fella ever when Liverpool win football matches. But there's also a part where, again, then you could go to Holland next week and plays 2-3 games for Holland, and then you don't know what's happening then, do you know what I mean? So, the one thing that favours him, and I said this 4 months ago when the fixtures were announced, that the first 6 are favourable. They really are favourable. Whether Liverpool win, lose or draw today, I still expect them to win, by the way. But whether Liverpool win, lose or draw, you've got 2 weeks off then, you've got 3 home games that you should win. You should win these 3 home games coming up. And then he also gives Gravenberch to have a rest, or if he needs to get, you know, like he needs more minutes in the role, then he has opportunities. It's not like he's rolling into United away, Everton at home, City away, and it's rolling into like a really dog of a week. Do you know what I mean? He has time to mould Gravenberch how he wants to, and he can pick and choose his matches in the next 3. He can pick and choose them. So I expect Gravenberch to do Bournemouth. I expect him to do an hour against Forest probably. I don't expect him to play against West Ham. So you're actually at a stage where you can actually still tactically talking through the role. But again, if he does come out and, you know, destroys Kobe Mainoo, then I think we're all going to say he's the best number 6 in the world and Liverpool the greatest team ever. So, but we'll see.
Before I go to Brian, just number one, thanks for all the comments, but make sure you're also smashing the like button or tapping it gently if you have a sensitive keyboard, and subscribing to the channel, and then following us on Facebook and Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Brian, is there an advantage for Slot that maybe Klopp didn't have? Not that he always needed it, but in knowing Erik ten Hag probably more inside out than anybody else in the league does, having probably even done his coaching courses with him as well back in the KNVB coaching license days, because I think they're similar-ish age career-wise, if not biological age. But is that something that we should be looking to, that, you know, Ten Hag will try whatever the hell it is he keeps trying every week, and Slot will go, oh yeah, I saw that, I know how to counter that.
I mean, it could be. I mean, I definitely think that they're familiar with each other. So you can say the same likewise for Ten Hag with Slot. I mean, I think he already knows the type of football that he plays because he's used to that. So that's why I'm saying it's going to be an interesting chess match right there to see how they're gonna maneuver across each other's tactics. So I mean, again, it's going to go up to which players buy into that tactic. Because to me right now, I can't really quite figure out what Ten Hag's full tactics are, but there are a lot of players who haven't bought into it, and I think that's a problem right there. It seems like that most of our players have bought into the system. I mean, that's why you see a Gravenberch playing as a hybrid 6. I mean, because he's bought into the system. I mean, and I think, and you can see that Mo's playing some of the best football he is at the moment right now because he seems invigorated. This is a setup that's designed for him. And I think that we're going to see the same thing later on down the line when we actually start adding in our signings about how they're going to buy into this type of football.
It always seems to me, Susie, that, you know, we're going to be playing chess, as Brian says, but I'm pretty sure United are going to be playing checkers or drafts from our part of the world. But let me ask you this: Chelsea, if you don't know the scores out there, cover your ears now. Chelsea drew Crystal Palace 1-1. Spurs did against Newcastle, and Arsenal drew yesterday. Points dropped from them this early in the season. Every game counts, as we said, and you can't win the league at this point, but you can lose it if you fall behind too early, too quickly. Is this a game where, if we win it, we're not only getting bragging rights over United, but we're also stealing a tiny bit of a march on Arsenal already?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you said earlier, like every point counts. And it's definitely, the league is between Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. But Arsenal dropped points yesterday, and if we win today, definitely gives us that advantage over Arsenal for sure. And the best thing about us is that we're so understated because no one knows what to expect from us this season. And I think Liverpool always do well when they're written off. I think everyone has written us off. big spot left. And that's great. We'll just go under the radar, do our thing, and we'll see what happens at the end of the season. But I think, every point counts. The fact that we kept 2 clean sheets is, I think how many clean sheets did we keep last season? Like 3. So we, it's, and it's like we said last season that goals win games, but defense wins you championships and then win you titles. So that being said, I don't think Man United know what to expect from us, and this is the first time in a long time that they have to come win the ball of us because it's all possession based. We don't have to sit back and just wait for Man United to make a mistake and counter attack them. Like, we'll kick that ball, and I don't think Man United have the players or the legs to win that ball back of us. But we'll see. There's
also a part here, though, Mac, right? If you're Arsenal, that you've had your best, your Irish centre midfielder, Declan Rice, is being he's suspended. He's suspended for the game, and the game Spurs away. Like that. To me, it's like, fuck me, like, you know what I mean? It's like, if right now, if you say to me, "Oh, you're going to lose Alexis McAllister if you go to some park," I'll be like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Like, it's just that kind of, like, you know what I mean? And then they go to City away. So there's actually an argument here. If you're Arsenal, that you might not win the next 2 games, which, by the way, is completely valid. It's not like me being outlandish there. You're going to your toughest rivals in Spurs, who usually give you a hard, really fucking tough football match without your best player in midfield, and then you're going to City. And then there's an argument that you might only win 2 out of 5. And if you win 2 out of 5 in this league, and if you carry on with that strike rate, you're not going to win the Premier League. Nope. So there's an argument, if you're Arsenal, you need to get at least 4 points at the next 2. Yeah. But Liverpool's, that's where the fix, again, I keep saying, I've said it for 4 months on podcasts, the fixtures have favoured Liverpool massively the first 6, because you might have a 7-point lead before you can, over Arsenal, not City, but over Arsenal before you actually got to look at the rest of the hard games coming up. Do you know what I mean? So that sending off yesterday, as much as it was great, Brighton should win the game, by the way. I thought they were dreadful, Brighton, when the player got sent off. Honestly, horrific. Arsenal should have won the game with the chances, with Saka's chance and stuff like that. But there's an argument, fella, where you go, fuck me, we've got to win one of these big fucking 2 games where you, at the start of the season, you take 2 draws because you beat Brighton and go, okay, we won 3 out of 5. We went there, now we can kick on. But now it starts to look like, oh my God, like, this is, you know what I mean? This shit could hit the fan pretty sharp.
I just like the fact that you went, oh my God, there, and you didn't realize it. Your accent's changing already because you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
A little Starbucks white girl, yoga pant kind of girl. Like, oh my God.
Don't stand up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, don't stand up, my God.
Before we go to Brian, I'm going to ask you, all 3 of you, to answer the same question. But Ryan is in Chicago with the rest of the boys at the party that we all weren't invited to. We're just not, we're left behind.
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't get that one comped because we gents to all fly to Chicago from.
Yeah. But good. Ryan, if you're watching, say hello to the boys for us, and we might see them in the post match if they're all drunk enough. But Brian and then Suzy and then Cozzy, and more because Cozzy and Brian and myself have this bugbear. If it's tight coming into the 65th minute, do you trust Darwin Núñez to come on and score a winning goal?
No. He doesn't fit the system, and I'm not going to slate. I know a Thursday night thing with us, kind of like where the anti-Núñez kind of rumored crowd and all that, but he just doesn't fit the system. He's chaotic right there, and this is a thinking type of system right there, and he doesn't think. I mean, he doesn't go there. He doesn't have the smarts to go there to actually make that to stay on side. I'm sorry, that's my problem with him. I think with Klopp's system, where you're actually when you're running and you're at a full attack pace, and and with the heavy metal football, I think that I think Núñez is fine with that because he's missing chances, but he's also putting up and creating chances at the same time. You don't have that with this right here. I mean, if you're going there and actually passing the ball, you're moving the ball through here. If you're moving the ball and you're wanting a player to go there and actually stay on side to actually take a smart shot, Núñez isn't that guy. I said a couple weeks ago that I give Núñez till January or to May, and then probably about either one of these 2 windows up there, Núñez will probably be gone. He doesn't fit the system, and it's no knock on him. I mean, some players are good, some players are for that type of chaotic stuff and all that. He could go to a really full attacking side and be okay. But right now, I don't think he fits us, and I think he's going to get moved on.
Sir Z, I kind of could probably guess Cozzy's answer, but are you the dissenting voice here, or do you agree?
No, I actually see him doing it because it's a typical Nunes thing to do. We write him off, and he just come out and just reminds me of the two best moments last season: the Newcastle Nottingham Forest game, and I'm jumping around like a loon. And yeah, he's the type of bastard that'll make me do that. So yeah, I can see him do that.
Cozzy, do we need to ask?
I mean, yes, he's right. He's a proper headline maker, and I get that. But I actually think if it's tight on 65, I think a draw is a goal for Liverpool. I really do. I think a draw is all right. Do you know what I mean? And I think the manager should think like that, because then you're looking at United thinking you've won 1 out of 3. Do you know what I mean? And that's the fact of the matter. If you won 1 game and in 3, and you should have got beat in that home game, at least Fulham had a lot of good chances. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you want to set the doubt into their mind. What I would say is, though, Ian Mac, is that if Liverpool losing the game, I think that's my first sub. It's just to like cause a bit of chaos and just do what he has to do if you're losing the football match. And I think, there's also a part I don't know if De Ligt can do 90. So you're like, if you got Maguire on, I'd put Darwin on him and go, just run on him. Because you're fucking 55 times quicker than him. Just run on him and make him make a decision, make him foul you, make him fucking, you know what I mean? But the problem is, has he got the temperament, has he got the brain cells to do that? I don't know. Because what he's shown me in the last 2 years, he hasn't. But I agree with Sergi a little bit that he's a headline maker, fella. He just does mad shit at mad times. And it's just something that you go, well, don't forget about me kind of thing. Mate, if he scores the winner, fella, you'll just jump in the Sheffield end, head first. Just jump in like this, like a fucking salmon into the Sheffield end. And you're like, I'm going to fucking fight you all. I just don't know what you're going to get out of him. So the positive for Nunes is, mate, and again, I don't want to keep digging on him and harping on him, is that funny enough, he's suspended for Uruguay. So he's not going away. So he's got 2 weeks to get, you know what I mean? If you can't target a start in these next 3 games, I don't think he starts these next 3 games. He should start West Ham, surely. But if he doesn't start the next 2 in the league, then you're probably the writings on the wall of what your part is this season.
To be fair, though, just before we go on to score predictions, I think you could also tell him to walk at Harry Maguire and he'd still be indecisively slow. He doesn't have to even run.
Probably right.
So Trevor says he's looking forward to Darren doing the Judd Nelson fist in the air at the end of the broadcast, which will be the post-match after the game. But so before we go and get our cups of coffee, bottles of beer, cherry Coke in my case today, Brian, your score prediction, and will there be a standout player for us?
I'm still sticking with my 2-0 Dustin on Thursday. I think that we just go there and get our advantage and then shut down shop. That's the type of football we're playing now. And so I'd stand out. I think McAllister's going to be a standout in this match. I think that he's that type of player that that's just going to run the box to box, and I think that Manu's going to have some problems with him.
So Zay, what do you think? Score, and will there be a standout player for us?
Well, here's a bit of trivia for you. Do you know who the last Liverpool manager was that won the first game at Old Trafford against Man United?
Roy Evans.
Nope, Bob Paisley.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So Klopp being our Shankly of our generation, and Slot being our Paisley of our generation.
The one who picks up all the trophies.
We're going for that. We're going for Slot. We're going for Slot winning his game against Man United today. And I'd go for a 3-0 win.
Cozzy, what do you think?
I've been fucking humbled at this ground before, and it's like, I think something that will win 2-0. I said this on the podcast. I think it is. I just think I think they'll have a big first 20, massive first 20, and I think they'll run out of ideas a little bit and they go, fuck, we haven't scored in the first 20 here, and then Liverpool are getting on the ball a bit more, and then they start to grow into the game, and I think Liverpool can hurt them. I think we can score probably between 35 and 45, and then score early in the second half and just ruin them, basically. And the key player for me is Luis Diaz. As much as I've rated Mazraoui, and I think he's played well the first 2 games, he hasn't played against Luis Diaz in the form he's in right now. He done really well against Matoma last week, and Matoma's a good player. He done really well against him. But I think with the way Diaz is playing at the moment, I think that Mazraoui is going to be in for a fucking surprise. And then you're also looking at Mo Salah's form against Dalot, who's not a left back. I think if you can get him booked early doors, I think he'll shit himself. And I think that's that's another part of the conversation here. If you're Slot, your game plan, of course, is stick to your tactically game plan, but your other part is when you get the ball, you run at the fullbacks. Just run at the fullbacks and make them make a decision. Make them be a bit rash on you, make them get an early booking, and they'll shit the bed, and you just grow into the game. So I think that's the target, and that's the way home. So I'll say 2-0 Liverpool, and probably Diaz and Salah again.
I'm going to say 3-1 because I think we have to concede at some point, and it is
I'm never
United.
conceding a goal ever again.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? It'd be great for our nerves. But and then
It's boring though, wouldn't it? If you win every game 2-0, it's probably boring after like 70 or 80 games. It probably gets a bit boring. You know what I mean?
And then I'm going to say Gravenberch might be the standout player. He might show us all exactly what he wants, what he's going to do there. Before we go and get ready for the game, I want to agree with Ryan Thompson. Congrats on the book, Susie. We will be plugging that copiously on American Scouts or TV. You know, everybody should buy it once we get the links up for everybody.
Yes.
There you go. That's how you plug something. But we will be back after the game for the post-match commiserations or celebrations.
Wait for the new book in 5 years when he said Slot's the new Paisley, and we all go from there. And Liverpool compete Champions Leagues and all 4 league titles in 5 years. There we go.
We can all thank Susie.
Thank you for that.
But we will be back then, so make sure you join us, and we will hopefully have something to cheer about. But either way, enjoy the game. It's Man United, Liverpool. Life is for living. And football is life, as that guy says in that show. Have a good one. Enjoy the game. Don't fall over your coffee tables. And don't bump your head on the ceiling like my friend once did when it was Gary McAllister scored that great goal against Everton. It's not a good thing to do. He was 6'4", to be fair. So peace out. We will see you in an hour. Enjoy the game, gents. Here we go with the 70s porn.